Get the fuck out of here. Just kidding, I'm sorry. Hey everybody, it's Drewski McGillicuddy, and it's been a while, so I figured since it's almost Thanksgiving, I better go ahead and make a best movies to watch on Thanksgiving video. Hold on a minute. I gotta mention, these are not necessarily in any particular order, but I am gonna start off with the obvious just to get it out of the way. That's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Who hasn't seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? I'll actually admit that for the longest time, I could not stand this movie because John Candy's character just drove me as crazy as Steve Martin's character depicts John Candy's character driving him crazy. Or did that come out right? You get what I'm trying to say. But then I realized that it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to aggravate the crap out of you. You're supposed to be going through the same thing that Steve Martin's character is going through, which is this really nice guy. He really means well, but he's just a pain in the ass, and everywhere he goes, disaster happens. So, and this is about a guy trying to get home for Thanksgiving, and he gets stuck on a trip, from hell. And then in the end, everybody, gets along. It's the beginning of a beautiful friendship. So, that makes the list of best movies to watch on Thanksgiving. Next up, we have one that a lot of people might have forgot about or never liked to begin with. I don't know. It depends on what your tastes were in the 90s. Were you a fan of Pauly Shore? Because we're talking about Son-in-Law. And this is about Becca, who goes off to college. And her parents go with her to check her in. I mean, she's, the wholesome, down on the farm type girl, and she's going off to California to go to school, and there's a bunch of weirdos running about, and then the resident advisor happens to be Pauly Shore, who is Crawl, because whenever he goes to a party he's got to crawl back or something like that. I don't know, but I've always been a Pauly Shore fan for some reason ever since Encino Man. And the funny thing about Son-in-Law is there's a cameo from Brendan Fraser, who was the caveman in Encino Man. He reprises his role as the caveman at a Halloween party. A Thanksgiving break, or fall break, whatever you want to call it, comes around, and Crawl ain't got nowhere to go, and Becca feels sorry for him, so she takes him home to Nebraska, or wherever the hell, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, one of the Green Acres is the place to be type town. It's your typical fish out of water story, because you got the farm girl going to California. That's a fish out of water story in itself. And then she brings this California dude back to the farmlands, and he's a fish out of water. He wants to be a farmer. What the hell are you doing? Beat that cat. Wants to be a farmer, so he starts helping out on the farm, and at first he's destroying everything and making a mess. But then, as movies go, he gets better, and everybody grows to love him and accept him as one of their own, even though the whole thing was a farce. Did I mention that they pretended to be engaged? This is a wholesome movie. It's fun for the whole family. First time I had ever watched it, I laughed so hard that I almost killed myself when he gets punched in the face. And unfortunately, my phone's stupid and won't let me download videos so I can show you what I'm talking about. So you have to use your imagination, because he goes, "Oh, why did you do that?" So the next movie I wanted to tell you about is Scent of a Woman with Al Pacino. Al Pacino? Al Pacino and Chris O'Donnell. Al Pacino plays a blinded war veteran, and he's sitting home alone because I guess his immediate family is going out of town and they don't want to take him with them because he's a pain in the ass to be around. So they're going to leave him at home and pay this kid to babysit him. Little does this kid know, well, he's not really a kid, he's a college student. He's a college student, and he had been involved in a prank, even though he wasn't involved, but he was a witness to a prank, and he's not saying nothing, so stuff's going to happen later on in the movie that you don't need to know about because I'm telling you about how he is babysitting Al Pacino, and little does he know Al Pacino's going to make him go to New York City, and then they're going to have a bunch of trials and tribulations in New York City. You know, you got a blind guy running around leading this kid who has no idea where he's going or what he's doing. And they even test drive a Ferrari. And Chris O'Donnell, for some reason, lets Al Pacino drive the car. It's a wonderful moment. But then, yeah, there's just so many excellent scenes in this movie. This is one of those ones that might have slipped under a lot of people's radar. But I watched this with my dad when I was a little baby feller. And I didn't like it right away because, you know, I was a little baby feller. This wasn't my cup of tea. But then I watched it again as I got a little older. And somebody get this cat out of the sink. Throughout the movie, Al Pacino and Chris O'Donnell form a bond with one another. And like I said earlier, this little incident happened at school. And it threatens to, I guess, lose Chris O'Donnell his scholarship because he's not one of those rich boy, silver spoon in the mouth baby people like everybody else at this school is. He actually earned his scholarship to go there by getting the best grades that he could, or, you know, the best grades that you can get. And he's getting in trouble for something he didn't even do because he saw it and refuses to be a narc, basically. So Al Pacino goes down there and tells him, I was the guy I was 10 years ago. I'd take a flamethrower to this place. Hopefully that didn't, if you're not wearing headphones. Anyway, this is an excellent movie. If it didn't win all the Oscars, it should have, and it's a great movie to watch on Thanksgiving. I'm sorry, everybody. But anyway, happy Thanksgiving. Please click these buttons, even though if you click the like button, even though if you don't mean it, I won't care. Nobody will know. Subscribe, share the video. I mean, I'm doing the best I can. Donate to the Patreon just because I need $1. If you let me borrow $1, I'd appreciate it. Now, you could all, fuck. Just get the fuck out of my house.